We're back. You saw me get, like, totally wiped out, which I'll just start right away with, even before we played, Jeb had already, since he had already played it, he already said that he didn't think that it was great with two people. And I think he just, at least that particular combination was just awful for me. That being said, I also don't, like, I don't know if I totally played a good strategy or not either, but I mean, when we were talking off screen, I don't feel like there was much chance with his guy that could hop around and manipulate these, because there was only two locations out, so that means that
at
there
best
was
Mickey could earn 10.
Well, that and the fact is, at best, there was only two clans to manipulate each turn.
There was a double.
Sometimes there was a double?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, with the question mark.
Yeah.
But even if I wanted to play that game, that means I would have had to use my orders manipulating clan stuff and not moving around trying to take that. And then, yeah, so I don't know. He did make that comment earlier. You guys can certainly chime in if it's like you just need to get used to the game, or maybe, you know, you need to learn how to draft your Titans better or something like that.
Right. I also do think, like, it's better at two-player than other games that I've played. Like,
oh, it wasn't that it wasn't. It wasn't fun.
But yeah, I do think having more people, like, would make this more interesting.
And even though I was frustrated beyond belief, because I just, like, early on I saw that there's just no way. I mean, maybe I could have, like, spent an entire round drawing cards to see if I could get something to manipulate, but then, you know, between having two cost Titans and then having to gain money, that might have been rough too. So, but that being said, I think the game is really good, and I really would like to see it with 3 or 4 people, because then I feel like with having a little more interaction with, like, I gotta watch this person and I gotta watch this person, Jeb only had to watch me.
Right.
And he didn't have to make too much decisions with, I feel like the bonus cards might have even been more in play with 3 or 4 people.
Oh, also. Yeah, definitely, because we easily hit, I think after 3 rounds I was already at the 3 different ones. So.
And it was actually, it wasn't that far behind until I think round 3.
Round 3 was where I was
then when this just got out of control, and I couldn't do anything with the stuff up top, and you know, that's where it got rough. But the game is really cool and pretty simple.
Yeah, the mechanics are super easy to learn.
Like, you know, you look at it and it might be like, oh, that looks like it might be a little complicated because there's a lot of pieces. But a lot of the pieces are just trackers. Yeah. They're a tracker, or, you know, the round markers, that's still kind of like a tracker. So, you know, the cards that we played out of the action deck, I didn't have any problem understanding any of the ones that I played. There was no ambiguity in terms of, like, oh, how does that work? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I really enjoyed it too. Like, when I bought it, I was like, well, I didn't have any hopes because I didn't see anything about it. I just knew that it had the figures, and I was like, well, if anything, I'll be able to paint some cool looking stuff. And then I actually sat down and played it, and I was like, whoa, this is really fun. And it's simple to teach. I mean, you only have, 3 things every round to do, and one of those is a lot of cleanup. So, I mean, the hardest, I guess where all the time is spent in this game is thinking, because everybody has to, like, figure out what they want to do. Because, I mean, yeah, the video that you guys watch, I'm probably going to have edited out about half of it, probably.
Yeah, well, I mean, I spent way more time thinking than I probably should have, just because I was trying to look for an out or something. Mm-hmm. You know, and like I said, previously, like, if there was one more player and one more location, it would make people think about, you know, oh, do I need that card, or can I take an easy 5-point victory even if I don't need the card? Yeah. That type of stuff. And I feel like that would make, like, it would just totally change the dynamics of the game in terms of, like, I know I need to do this to Jeb. He knows he needs to do this to me every single time. Not that it didn't make you think, because it's like, do I give up and just take control of something over there and then work on other things? Which maybe I should have done. Maybe I should have, like, loaded my hand and gained a whole bunch of money and let you take something. I don't know. I have no idea if there was a way out on it. But again, I thought the game was really cool. It was semi a joke in terms of trying to get Jeb to buy it, because it is all the themes that he likes. And being is the fact that, like most Plaid Hat games, I don't know if I've played any of their stuff that I don't like. But I just didn't want to cough up the money, so I made him do it. Which I'm glad I did, because it was really, it is really pretty cool. So
yeah,
I would definitely give this one a thumbs up, and you should try it.
Anything you didn't like about it?
Well,
other than balance, right?
Well,
I mean, that's only because we haven't played.
I don't even know if it's unbalanced. I mean, I just so when Jeb did it, like when he taught me the game before we actually played. Well, we probably played about a third of the game or half of the game. I don't remember what it was. Just so I knew all the mechanics before we played. And I felt like that game was a lot
it was
It was a lot closer, and like literally because of the one Titan, which I think he's only unbalanced in the 2-player game.
Right.
I don't, and maybe there's another Titan I could have taken, knowing, because we don't know it's a blind draft, so actually I wouldn't know.
Well, you'd see he wasn't in your.
That's true. Once you memorized what Titans were there and what wasn't, you would know what at least somebody took in a 2-player game.
Yeah, in a 2-player game it is more limited.
He took it,
yeah.
So maybe I need to take something that counters his ability to mess with these clans.
Right.
And obviously it's not, don't take 2 mechs that cost money every turn either.
Yeah.
But I actually did want to, I did think the combo might have been a good idea until I saw what he was doing to me, because the sniping ability and then having just a giant guy on the board, in my mind was like, well, wait a second, I might be able to actually control a location from a distance, plus have just a big guy standing on it that makes it irritating for you, which I think he did find it once in a while irritating. It's just that he didn't care.
If you were watching, like, almost every round, I didn't have any ships. Like, my supply was empty. Like, everything.
Yeah, you were playing some of your cards that you were like, well, toss the ships because there was nothing else to do or whatever. But
other than that, I mean, I don't think there's anything that I didn't like. So.
No, and like I said, I'm not even sure on the balance might only be a 2-player thing, and it might not exist at all, because we certainly haven't played against each other enough to know that for sure.
Right.
And the other thing is that Jeb even he drafted blindly when he picked his stuff, as you guys saw.
The 2 that I liked weren't even in the game, so
there you go.
And I only like them because of the characters. But whatever. All right, things to remember. Always, before you do your order, check your power at each location to see if you get the bonus. Because I think we forgot that a couple times.
Yeah.
And remembered a little
bit.
We
remembered a little bit through, and it was pretty easy to remember who had what on the board. I would say, from a strict rules standpoint, that before you actually place the order one, to either do the before order, because there is, I think at least twice I was like, oh, wait a second, I want to do my before order, because you actually, once you place that, you need to resolve all of that. And particularly for me, because I had that sniping ability, like if I wanted to move into a place and take advantage of a mech killing a smaller ship, I needed to make sure that it was full with something else or however. But there was a lot of times that I really needed to do that first, not after, even though I could have done it after. It would have done me no good. So I would say that. And the other thing is that we did, saying it again because we didn't say it when we went over the mechanics, is that you can use the money to boost the order token. So in other words, if you place a 1, you however much money you want to stack up on that 1, it turns into a 2, a 3, or 4, or whatever.
Yeah.
I think once you see somebody do it once, or once you do it yourself, I don't think it's that much to remember. But when the very first time you play the game, try to keep that in the back of your head, because that can make a pretty huge difference.
Also, the fighters, you can spend the money to boost them while they're at the locations. We didn't do it too often. I think you did it a couple times, but I didn't do it at all.
I think I did it that one to make it a 9 or whatever,
right.
And I think you killed it anyways or something. I don't even remember what happened. That was just, I was like, I don't care. Because it was fun to do. But yeah, the fighters, and I think you would probably, I'm going to go back to that multiplayer game, I think you would see, like, maybe people just putting, I'm 1 ahead, you deal with it now.
Right.
You know, like, I have I think a 1-point lead in a 3 or 4 player game with multiple locations would be a way bigger deal than a 1-point lead between the two, because that's just a matter of moving a Titan, and I've got a good card in my hand. Otherwise, it's like, well, I have multiple battles coming up, potentially. Right. Which one am I going to deal with? And, okay, fine, he put 1 down there. I'm just not even going to bother with that one this time.
Right.
So anyways, yeah, I think that that's a really cool mechanic on that.
And the other thing I want to say, like I always do things in order.
Yep.
The battle phase in particular, because when somebody wins the battle, like, you get the 5 victory points for winning.
Right.
You get to use the effect. You get to take the card, and you have to move all your ships back to your supply.
Right.
So if you don't, I was finding when we weren't doing it in order, like, we kind of forgot some stuff. So I made it a point that I was like, do it in order every time, and that way you don't forget anything.
And you try not to be sloppy with your character card, because it only happened once, but Jeb did, it wouldn't have actually made a difference round, but it really, like, a lot of times it could have mattered big time for Jeb, because he was always low on ships, and I grabbed one from the graveyard. So this side of your board here is your graveyard where you put the ships that died, and I grabbed one to put on the board. Well, it needs to come from the supply, so if you're, just make sure you're not sloppy, because the ship count actually makes a huge difference in the game. And other people are paying attention to that too, because I noticed a bad thing on my part, I think, strategy-wise, was like blowing up Jeb's carrier unless I absolutely needed it points-wise. Mm-hmm. Before he was low on ships. It's like, he's just going to bring it back in with 2 ships. I mean, assuming that there's space on the board. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, little things like that. But honestly, it's not a game where I think you forget a whole lot. Maybe the other thing would be like getting excited and forgetting to score that. Maybe. Yeah. But that goes back to your just make sure you do everything at the end of the round like you're supposed to.
Yeah. So aside from that, I think that's everything.
I think so.
So yeah, we both like the game, and we recommend playing it. So,
yep.
Check out our other videos. Yep. If you have any comments or questions or anything, you can leave it on the video. Please subscribe to us if you like us, and you can leave any recommendations for games.
And if you have played this and you've played it with a group, let us know. I'd just be curious to know. I envision in my mind that the conflicts and the battles get crazy.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I mean, probably.
Especially with all the mechs, different mechs being out and doing stuff.
And I certainly like the mechanics of when you win a battle. It's kind of like, okay, you control that location, go home now, which is basically what they're doing, and you don't get to, like, I control it. You don't get to stay on the board anymore because, but when you don't. It's like, even though that location gets removed, you're still already like in space for the next location. Like maybe
Right.
you fly there quicker or something.
It's like you
Anyways.
retreated from the place you
Yeah,
lost at
right.
to a new one.
So anyways, I kind of like that. I had forgotten to say that, so I just wanted to put that in there. I thought that was a pretty, I feel like that was a helpful balancing mechanism. Like, oh, if I lose, it's like I have a little bit of a head start in the next round.
Right.
Potentially, you know, even from the aspect of controlling an area, which is another thing you need to think about. Like, where's that first player token gonna move next time?
Because of the tiebreaker,
right, and
stuff.
that kind of thing. Anyways, all right.
All right. Till next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Boards and booze, booze and boards, with Mickey and Jeb.